Good morning student friends. This is the second video of melting and pouring, that is unit 2 molding processes. In that part 2, that is melting and pouring. In the first part we have seen the cupola furnace. That furnace is used for melting of cast iron, that may be nodular cast iron, grey cast iron or malleable cast iron. But in the cupola furnace we have seen that whatever fuel we are using, that is good grade low sulfur anthracite coke, and that fuel comes in direct contact with molten metal. That's why the purity of the metal deteriorates, means we cannot get a pure metal in case of cupola furnace. Again, why this is happening? Because that molten metal is going to absorb sulfur and carbon from the red hot coke, and few of the alloying elements which are sensitive like manganese and silicon, they are going to loss in the form of their oxides. That is the drawback of cupola furnace. That's why whatever molten metal we are getting from the cupola furnace, it is impure. It is impure. Again, uniform quality of the melt we are not getting. But cupola furnace is having maximum capacity of 15 ton, and that furnace is continuously operating for next hours of 16 hours, continuous up to 16 hours, and that is called as a heat. In cupola furnace also we have to see that melting ratio, that is 10 as to 1, means to melt 10 ton of the metal 1 ton coke is required. Melting ratio 10 as to 1 means to melt 10 ton of the metal 1 ton coke is required. We have seen everything related with the cupola furnace in the last video. This furnace is an induction furnace, that the second furnace, and this is improvement over the cupola furnace. Here you are getting a pure quality of the molten metal. That's why this furnace is suitable where controlling of the temperature is required. Again, controlling of the chemical composition of the metal is required. In that case, yes, we have to use the induction furnace. Here this induction furnace works on the principle of transformer. What is principle of transformer? When we are passing primary current through this inductor coil, in this picture you can see this inductor coil is called as a primary coil of the transformer, through which we are passing primary current, and due to electromagnetic induction, secondary current or eddy current is developed inside the metal charge, and this metal charge is called as a secondary of the transformer. This is the working principle of this induction furnace. Due to electromagnetic induction, secondary current is directly developed in the solid metal charge, which is placed inside the crucible. Solid metal charge is acting as a secondary of the transformer, and inductor coil of the furnace is acting as a primary of the transformer. Now here you can see this induction furnace is mounted on one of the constructed slab. This furnace is mounted on one of the constructed slab, and this furnace is operated on the electric energy, and we know that controlling of the electric energy is very easy. In case of induction furnace, we are converting electric energy into heat energy, and that heat energy we have to utilize to carry out melting of the metal. But in case of cupola furnace, we have seen that as and when metal is consumed through the tap hole, the same amount of solid metal charge is added through the charging door. But this facility is not available with induction furnace. This induction furnace works on the batch size melting, means the desired amount of or required amount of solid metal charge is placed in this crucible at the center, and after melting of it, it is removed through this metal spout by tilting. By using a crane, we have to tilt this furnace about vertical axis, and we have to remove the molten metal through this metal spout. Here you can see this inductor coil and this metal charge is separated by using insulating material. Why this is so? Because we have to protect this inductor coil from very high temperature of the molten metal. Generally we are using this induction furnace for melting of the steel, and pouring temperature of the steel is near about 2300 centigrade. At that much amount of high temperature, there may be chances of melting of this inductor coil by the heat absorbed from the molten metal which is placed in the metal charge, which is placed in the crucible. That's why this crucible and this inductor coil, they are separated by using a insulating material to protect this inductor coil from very high temperature of the molten metal. In this induction furnace, we are using alternating current which is passing through a coil to develop a magnetic field in the metal. You can see in the figure at the center, here magnetic waves are created, and these waves are utilized for uniform mixing of this molten metal with the alloying elements. Whatever alloying elements we have seen, silicon, manganese, chromium, nickel, cobalt, all these alloying elements are added inside the molten metal to improve certain mechanical properties, and these uniform mixing of the alloying element with the metal takes place just by the magnetic stirring, and that magnetic stirring is developed by the magnetic field. Here secondary current is induced which causes rapid heating and melting. Directly secondary current or eddy current is developed in the metal charge which is to be melted, and that secondary current is used for heating and melting. Inductor coil acts as a primary of transformer and charge becomes secondary. Inductor coil of the transformer, inductor coil of this furnace are acting as a primary of transformer, and metal charge becomes a secondary. An alternating magnetic field induces eddy currents in the metal which converts the electric energy to heat. I told you that point. Again, here metal does not come in contact with the heating element. The environment can be closely controlled, and this is not achieved in case of cupola furnace, because in case of cupola furnace metal charge is in direct contact with the red hot coke. That's why it is very difficult to control the temperature of the cupola furnace. But here directly you can shut off the power supply, and thereby you can control the flow of electric current passing through the inductor coil, and thereby you can control the heat generated. Here environment can be controlled very easily. Again, pollution is very less. In the introduction of this part also I told you selection of the furnace is also based on the pollution that furnace is making. Cupola furnace is making a maximum pollution of the air, but this furnace is making a least pollution, very less pollution is made. This environment is closely controlled, and it results in molten metal of high quality and purity. Whatever alloying elements we are added before melting of the metal, the same alloying element percentage you will get while pouring of the metal. This is happening in case of induction furnace. Here electromagnetic force field causes mixing action in the liquid metal. At the center you can see white dots are there inside this figure, and this is called as a mixing action of the liquid metal. This is called as a magnetic stirring. Again, time taken for charge to melt is short, because directly secondary current or eddy current is developed in the metal charge. And why heat is developed? Because current is nothing but flow of electrons, and the solid metal charge is having its own electron, and there is a collision between the electrons of the current and electrons of the solid metal charge, and due to that collision heat is developed, and that heat we have to utilize for melting of the metal which is placed inside the crucible. Melting of steel, cast iron and aluminum alloys, these are the common application in the foundry industry. Capacity of this induction furnace is ranging from 1.5 kg to 12 ton, and power required is 12 kilowatt to 15 megawatt for melting sizes of 20 kg to 30 ton. But as compared to cupola furnace, initial cost as well as maintenance cost of this induction furnace is more. Now this is the figure of this induction furnace. This is called as a direct induction furnace. Second type is, or this is also called as a coreless induction furnace, and second type is a core type induction furnace that we will see now. Now we will see the advantages. Induction heating is a clean form of heating. We are using induction cooker in our kitchen also. If induction cooker is there, and if you are started heating a milk, directly eddy current or secondary current is developed in the milk itself, and only that milk is heated without heating of that pot. Pot is at a warm temperature, but milk is at a heated temperature. This is induction heating. It is a clean form of heating. It is a non-contact form of heating. That's why there may not be impurity in the metal charge which is to be melted. High rate of melting, that is high melting efficiency. All of a sudden, if I will start the power supply, secondary current is developed in the metal charge, and and I will get metal charge in a rapid manner, molten metal in rapid manner. But in case of cupola furnace, 3 hours are required to get the molten metal. If I am starting cupola furnace, then after 3 hours only I will get the molten metal. That is drawback of cupola furnace. Rapid melting is not achieved. Alloyed steels can be melted without any loss of alloying elements, and loss of alloying element is taking place in a case of coke fired furnaces, that is cupola furnace, because silicon is converted into silicon oxide, manganese is converted into manganese oxide, and these two are the important alloying elements, and they are lost in the form of their oxides. Controllable and localized heating. All of a sudden you can control the environment of the induction furnace, as well as localized heating is there. Disadvantage: high capital cost and high operating cost. Continuously 3-phase AC power supply is required, and electricity charges are more for the industrial applications. That's why high operating cost, and capital cost of the equipment is also high as compared to cupola furnace, because inductor coil is having a costlier material. Now second furnace is called as a core type or low frequency induction furnace, and first is called as a coreless or high frequency induction furnace. Now first furnace we have seen in case of induction, that is used as a melting furnace, and this furnace is used as a holding furnace. Holding means we have to hold the metal at desired temperature before pouring it into the mold. That furnace is called as a holding furnace. Now we will see its construction. This is the steel shell, which is lined with refractory lining from the inside. The steel shell is having hatching lines, and these hatching lines are called as refractory lines. This is the pouring spout, means this furnace operates on a liquid metal charge which is obtained by other furnaces. Means the input of this core type induction furnace is output of other furnaces. That is, means output of cupola furnace can be input to this furnace, or output of induction furnace, that is high frequency, can be input to this furnace. This furnace only operates on a liquid metal charge. Remember students, this furnace only operates on a liquid metal charge. This furnace does not produce the liquid metal. It operates only on the liquid metal. Only we can keep the metal at a higher temperature by using this furnace. Now you can see here this arrow you are seeing. These arrows are called as a magnetic steering or circulation of the melt, and this is taking place because of magnetic steering. This furnace is having a core, and that core is made up of laminated steel coils. Laminated steel coils, and through which we are passing a primary current. Primary current is passed through this primary coil of this core type induction furnace, and secondary coil is nothing but a channel of liquid metal which is surrounded by the primary coil. प्रायमरी कॉइलच्या कडनं जो लूप दिसतोय किंवा चॅनल दिसतोय मोल्टन मेटलचा, दॅट इज कॉल्ड ॲज अ सेकंडरी ऑफ द ट्रान्सफॉर्मर. मीन्स when I will start the power supply, secondary current is developed in the channel of the molten metal, and due to that secondary current, heat is obtained, and that heat is utilized to raise the temperature of the metal, as well as to keep this metal in a liquid state for longer time. That is the purpose of this core type induction furnace. It is having a plug for emptying, that is nothing but tapping hole. After getting desired temperature, you can remove this plug, which is made up of refractory material, and you can take out the metal charge. You can take out the molten metal, and this is a channel of molten metal. This is acting as a secondary of the transformer, and primary of the transformer is nothing but primary steel coil which is laminated, and this pouring spout is used for the entry of molten metal inside this furnace. Pay attention, if by chance metal is solidified in this channel, then we have to dismantle this furnace. Means we have to open this furnace completely, and we have to remove the solid metal charge, because the temperature developed in case of low frequency induction furnace is not sufficient to melt the metal. It is sufficient only to raise the temperature of the metal, or to keep it in a liquid state for long time. This is the function of core type induction furnace. This core type induction furnace operates as an ordinary transformer, This furnace also has a same working principle as the first furnace, that is high frequency induction furnace. The primary coil has many turns and it is wound on a steel laminated core. This is the primary of the transformer. These are the steel laminated core coils, and through which we are passing a primary current. High frequency alternating current is passed through this primary coil, whereas secondary of the transformer has one turn and is nothing but channel or loop of liquid metal within the furnace. Whatever arrow you are seeing, this is secondary of the transformer. The furnace uses an AC supply, that is 60 cycle per second. Primary of the transformer, and this red arrow, first arrow indicates primary of transformer, second arrow shows secondary of the transformer. Channel of molten metal around the coil connects to the main metal container above which holds the metal charge. This complete furnace has been filled with molten metal before start of the operation. The heated metal in the channel gets heated, circulates through and steers the metal in the container, and this melting process is proceed. Pay attention here. Whatever molten metal you are getting through the cupola furnace, that is not of good quality. That metal you can store inside this furnace, and inside this furnace you can add the alloying elements which have lost in case of cupola furnace, and you can improve the quality of the melt. That work also you can for that work also you can use this low frequency induction furnace. Once the metal reaches the required pouring temperature, it can be dialed out from the pouring spot. After getting the pouring temperature, in the first chapter we have seen pouring temperature is equal to melting point plus 150 to 200 degree centigrade. After reaching to that temperature, we have to remove this plug which is placed at the bottom, and so that you can take this molten metal inside the ladle and you can carry it to the pouring station for pouring inside the mold. This is a core type induction furnace. This is the figure for core type induction furnace. You can see it is mounted on the floor. It has a steel shell which is lined with a refractory lining. Refractory lining means we have to protect the steel shell from very high temperature of the molten metal. That's why refractory bricks are constructed to the inner side of this steel shell. It has a pouring spout at the top through which molten metal is taken inside this furnace, and it has a plug for emptying. Emptying means to remove completely the molten metal through this furnace. Just we have to remove this plug which is also made up of refractory material to carry out to remove the molten metal into the ladle, and it has been used for the pouring. This is primary of the transformer, and secondary of the transformer is nothing but channel of liquid metal which is surrounded by the primary coil. Advantages: induction furnace is most efficient furnace. Thermal efficiency is about 80%. Melting is rapid and clean. In case of high frequency induction furnace, melt can be accurately controlled, means chemical composition of the molten metal can be controlled easily. Due to electromagnetic induction, magnetic waves are developed in the melt, and which ensures uniformity of the metal, means complete mixing of alloying element with the base metal takes place due to magnetic stirring, and this feature is only available with induction furnace. It is not available with cupola furnace, again electric furnaces or crucible furnaces. The furnace operation is economical. Again, the furnace operation is quite silent. It does not make any noise, but in case of cupola furnace we are using compressed air, that's why it has a noisy operation. As well as electric fired furnaces are also making noise, because we are making contact of graphite electrodes with the metal charge, that's why noise is created in case of electric fired furnaces. Limitation: cannot be operated on solid metal charge. Second furnace, that is low frequency induction furnace, cannot be operated on solid metal charge. It only operates on a liquid metal charge procured from other furnaces like a cupola or high frequency induction furnace or electric fired furnace or crucible furnace. Furnace operation can be started only after filling the channel with molten metal procured from others furnace. This furnace cannot be started on the solid metal charge. Low frequency induction furnace. if once by chance metal gets solidified in the channel, it cannot be remelted. I told you this point, again we are repeating here. If by mistake the metal is molten metal is made solid inside the channel of the low frequency induction furnace, it cannot be remelted by the temperature developed due to low frequency induction furnace. We have to dismantle the furnace in this situation. A core type induction furnace thus is not suitable for intermittent operation. It is suitable for the continuous operation, not suitable for intermittent operation. And this furnace we are using in case of pressure die pressure die casting or gravity die casting. Application: for remelting non-ferrous metals and their alloys. Non-ferrous metals are generally having lower melting point. That's why we can use this low frequency induction furnace for remelting of non-ferrous metals. And this furnace is used as a holding furnace for permanent mold casting or gravity die casting and pressure die casting. As a holding furnace we can use. Here we have completed induction furnace. In the next lecture we will see the electric fired furnaces.